Do you have intrusive thoughts that nobody should know about? Me too. Let's get into it. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Please Be Random. This is Austin Bates, and do we have some hot takes for you today? A couple of random ones, because we got to stay random. I mean, that's the whole goal, right? But we do have some hot takes today. Just, a couple of things that constantly, every day, cross my mind. Not really random, just something I talk about all the time. It's more opinionated than anything, and I think that's okay. You're entitled to yours, I'm entitled to mine. That's the way it works, isn't it? It's the way the world goes around. Let's be honest, even political figures don't make decisions purely on facts most of the time. It's a lot of opinions. Will this bill work? Will it not? We're going to jump right into it, and just because something happened today that made me think about it, and I was like, we're going to jot this down. We're going to throw it into the show here. My son is 3, and for the most part, he acts like a normal 3-year-old. Crazy, all over the place, too much energy for his own good. Hates taking naps. He's gotten past that. And for everybody but me, it is a nightmare. And this right here is the topic we're going to be talking about. Disciplining your kids. And in what form do you think it's okay? Because me personally, I've had my ass whooped growing up, and I don't think getting your ass whooped is a bad thing. I think personally, if you didn't get your ass whooped, I can spot you in a Facebook comment like nobody's business. Comment sections are chock full of comments that you can tell kids did not get their ass whooped when they were growing up. It's just, it's the sad truth of it, to be honest with you. I knew my place growing up. I didn't get in trouble for the same thing over and over and over again when I was growing up. It may be once or twice, maybe 3 times if I was really pushing it. But I knew at some point it was going to hurt bad enough that you didn't push any farther than that, Like the first one was a real stern talking to, and then the second one was your ass getting whooped. And then you push it that third time, yeah, you're probably going to have blisters on your butt. And that's just the way it worked, I mean, I personally don't think that's a bad thing. Now, I do understand the separation between abuse and discipline. There are differences, don't get me wrong. So like I said, you could hop on Facebook and just go to a random video, open the comments section, and look at the differences between the way people articulate their sentences or the respect a man has for a woman that he's commenting on. Because let's be honest, you know that if a man was commenting on a man's video that he didn't like, that comment would be much raunchier than the one that he put on that female's post. So, you can always tell the ones that grew up with respect and authority versus the ones that had no, discipline of any sorts, at least not well enough. You can always tell. And I'm not necessarily saying that you had to have your ass whooped, but that is a form of pretty solid and effective discipline, in my opinion. Again, there's a difference between abuse and discipline. I'm not denying that whatsoever, because some people take that way too far. Way too far. But I'm not even scared of, what he thinks of me right now. Number one, he's 3. He's barely developed enough to understand everything, which, don't get me wrong, he's incredibly smart, okay? This kid is I still think that's part of the problem, is he's too smart for his own good, and I'm not downplaying that whatsoever. But right now, he's still in the I want to know where my boundaries are at stage, and I'm not scared right now. What I'm scared of is when none of that works anymore, like the timeouts and the butt whoopings and the, all that stuff. I'm scared when we get to that point that he's going to have a lot of questions for me that I don't know the answer to, because my fiance and I, we don't watch the news. We don't really keep up with much. Like every now and then, our friends or something will get a hold of us and be like, did you hear about this? Or her aunt and uncle will start talking about how the country's going. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know that, So we're kind of detached, but I wouldn't have it any other way, really, because I don't really care what Kim K's doing on her live stream or what, Kanye West is doing nowadays. I don't care. I don't care. Not even a little bit. I just want to live my life to the fullest and in the best way I can, And then when the time comes that you meet your maker, you know, however which way you go, you can look at yourself and be like, I had a great life. I did well, made everybody happy that I could, kept myself as happy as I could, and move on from there. So when he starts asking the questions that I don't really know the answers to, that's what scares me more than now when I am disciplining him in the physical way or the timeout kind of way. Because right now it's easy. Like, hey, don't do that. Hey, don't do that. And then it turns into, and then he's done, you know? Most of the time I don't even have to get to that point. I sit in my recliner with the footrest up. He hears that footrest go down, over. Whatever the hell he's doing is done, put down, he's done, whatever, he knows I'm coming. And I don't even get to the point where, you know, he gets his butt whooped. So that's changed a lot. It didn't used to be that way. I kind of had to learn him on that. You know, I had to make sure he understood that like 1, 2, and then 3 is the big one. I did the 1, 2, 3 method without actually saying 1, 2, 3. So that is kind of a hot take. I know a lot of people are like, no, that's the old way and na. And I'm like, yeah, but it was effective. So I was raised on if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And in my opinion, it ain't broke. So I'm not going to fix it. You know, he wants to be an asshole. He's going to get an asshole. That's the way it works. Until eventually he realizes, hey, I don't have to be an asshole to get what I want. All I have to do is go, please can I have this? Or please can I do this? Or, you know, whatever the case may be. I mean, you're still going to get no's. You have to be told no in life. That's another good point. You cannot tell me that you've never met somebody that you can tell has never been told no in their life ever. I mean, the last episode, we talked about the medical field when people come in and, you know, they're a bunch of asshole patients or the doctors are assholes or whatever the case may be. You always get those people that come up and you're like, no, I can't do that. We don't do that here. Or, you know, no, I don't have this for you. Like, you have to go here and call these people and do this. And you can always tell who either didn't have an authority figure in their life or just straight up their authority figure sucked and didn't ever tell them no. Of course, the flip side of that, you can always tell the ones that got told no too much, because then that's the ones that are shelled up and clammed up that don't want to talk because they just assume that everything that, you know, any kind of idea they have or any kind of thing they want to do is going to instantly get turned into that's stupid or no, we're not going to do that, you know, so you can tell both ends of the spectrum, really. It's crazy to me how people can be, I swear. It's just, you know, that's why I don't want my kid to be like that. So the butt whoopings and the telling him no and I mean, from the outside aspect, I probably do look like an asshole to my 3-year-old, but they don't live with him and they don't have any idea what it's like to be in the same house as that little Tasmanian devil. And it's not something that is negotiable for me. If he's going to be an asshole, he's going to get an asshole. You treat people the same way you want to be treated. Again, another thing that I was raised on. So that's the way it works. You know, you want to scream, cry, kick, throw a fit, you're going to get repercussions for that. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't know what you want me to tell you. Another hot take that I truly and will 110% stand behind forever, it kind of still involves the kid thing, and actually this is jumping forward in my son's life a little bit. I should not have to worry about my kid going to high school and being surrounded by rainbow flags and all this other foo-foo stuff. Like, I have no problem with however you want to live your life or however your parents say it's okay to live your life. I don't care. I really don't. My problem starts incorporating itself when you force it on us. Like, why is it my responsibility to accept you for who you are, but then when I try to tell you how I think it should be, or, you know, my opinions on things, then those don't matter. That's where my problem starts to introduce itself. Because, again, you want to go out and be with a guy, or you want to go be with a girl, or you want to go cut your dick off and become a girl, whatever. I don't care. Do you, you know? Just don't make me do it with you. I don't want to be a part of that. I don't really... it's not what I want in my life. It's not what I want my kid to be around. I personally don't think that that's how you should live your life, so I'm entitled to that opinion. You know? Again, hot take. Very big hot take. I'm sure this is going to definitely blow up, I'm sure. But I don't think it's right for it to be forced into the school systems when our tax money is what pays for those school systems. Not at all is that okay. Because if my money goes into keeping your school afloat, I should have an opinion in that school. And if my opinion doesn't match your curriculum, then there should be some kind of altercation to that curriculum. And I know for a fact that I'm not the only person that thinks that. I'm surrounded by people every day that think the exact same way I do. And no, it's not my family, it's not friends, it's strangers that tell me they feel the exact same way. So again, I could care less. As a matter of fact, perfect example. At my work, I have a client. He walked in the other day, and he was in a joking mood, obviously, because he just brought this up out of nowhere. He said he was talking to somebody the other day, and he goes, "You know how hard it is to tell another gay person that you're a gay Republican?" And I looked at him kind of weird, and I was like, because I'm not going to bring that up. I'm not going to, but first of all, they're only there 15, 20 minutes at a time. We don't have time to talk about that most days. And I've always been taught you don't bring politics and or religion into most conversations just because it 90% of the time turns into some kind of debate and or argument. So I've never brought it up. But he looked right at me and he goes, "You know how hard it is to tell another gay guy that I'm a gay Republican?" And I swear on my life, almost died laughing. And he goes, "What, do you think I'm joking?" I said, "Well, it's kind of hard to believe you." And he goes, "That's exactly what he said." And I was like, you don't... I said, "Do you not pay attention to, like, anything?" And he goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Do you not have a Facebook or an Instagram, TikTok, anything with, like, short videos, YouTube shorts?" And he goes, "No." And I was like, "Well, you should check that out sometime, because it's not common for gay people to be Republicans. Let's be honest." But he looked right at me and he goes, "My parents just raised me that way." He said, "I've always been that way." He goes, "I have the right to live my life however I want, just as much as you do." And I said, "Yeah, exactly." I said, "That's precisely what I say to everybody." I said, "I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. You don't tell me how to live mine. That's the way that should work." Which, then we got into the conversation about how it's all in the schools and it's being forced on everybody and everything. And he goes, "Dude, I don't even want to be a part of that community. That community is so stupid because they expect everybody and their mother to jump on the same bandwagon as them. And that's not how it works." He said, "I just want to be able to be comfortable in my own skin." He goes, "I don't want to go back to the 50s when being gay was basically burn them at the stake." He said, "But I should be able to be free about it. And no, I'm not going to go running around trying to rub it in everybody's face. Why would I do that? That's so stupid. That makes everybody else miserable. And then how am I supposed to be happy? Because everybody I'm around is miserable because I'm like, look how gay I am." And I looked right at him. I was like, "Dude, we need to go get a beer," which is ironic for the job that I have. Yeah, it's, it just kind of threw me through a loop, I didn't know how to react. I found it quite funny, to be honest with you. I mean, we had a real good 20-minute conversation about it. Me and him are super cool. I treat everybody the same. I have a transgender female going to a male, I think, client at work. So I treat her exactly the same as I treat everybody else. I don't treat anybody in there any different than the next one until they give me a reason to. The thing is, with my job, you have so much that you can do, and then you hit a wall, and it's no longer up to you to make decisions or help them or do anything like that. And once it gets to a certain point, it is all on either the DMV or, my corporate. So a lot of clients come in there, and I'm the punching bag, of course, low end of the totem pole. If you take that reference the way it should be taken, I hold up the entire company, but, they don't care about that. Anyway, so another squirrel, but I treat everybody the same. And then they come in here and they, want to yell, scream, complain at me. Most of the time I can talk them down. Most of the time. There's a couple exceptions of a couple of clients. But there were a couple people that, they'd come in and completely be flipping out, and would not listen to me when I was talking to them. And that stuff drives me nuts too. That's one of those moments where you're like, yeah, you didn't get your ass whooped when you were a kid. Definitely not. But it just, it's I think of hot takes all the time. And that's just the easiest way for me to put it. I always call them hot takes which I think that terminology is stupid anyway because it's opinions. 99.9% of the time it's opinions. So you're entitled to yours, I'm entitled to mine. We can talk about the same thing all day long and we're probably never ever going to change our minds. That's just the way it works. I mean, you can attempt to change an opinion by spitting facts out, but if they're set in stone, that's just the way it is. There is no changing their opinion. So sidetracking from hot takes, for any of my gamers out there, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But just in case, anybody's listening that does not play video games or anything like that, when you're streaming a game, which you can go watch any big streamer, and this happens all the time to them because they're big names and people think they're better than them and this and that. So when you're streaming live, people are watching, and it's very likely that people are watching you stream while they're playing the game. And if you just so happen to get in the same lobby as this person, you can do what's called stream sniping, right? So basically what that is you're watching their screen to see where they're at, so you can go find them and kill them or beat them or get the objective that they're trying to get, or whatever the case may be. The other day, this thought came into my mind. Say a zombie apocalypse happens, right? Everything goes out except for power and internet. So you can charge your phone and you can still hook your phone up to the internet, right? So you're leaving your house. You're going to go meet up with family out of state or something just so you all can be together. First of all, I don't know why you would live stream in a zombie apocalypse, but this is just where my mind went, okay? Say you're live streaming, and wouldn't that just be some shit if somebody connected to your live stream and was like, holy shit, I'm on the same road and they got a fucking car full of items. I'm going to go get them. And they literally find you, and yeah, dude. I don't know why, but it makes me want to do a short film and do something stupid like that. It really does. Because I can imagine, comical experiences throughout that whole scenario. I don't know why. That was something stupid that popped into my head. It was hilarious. I'm just saying, Walking Dead is the best zombie apocalypse up until a certain point, I think, because another hot take, okay? All the spin-offs and all this other crap that they've been doing with this show, which I haven't even really dabbled too much into most of it, but I don't think the end of the original series was super great. That's my big problem. I mean, once the Whisperers came in and stuff, once they were gone and they started that new group where Daryl met the chick, I don't want to tell y'all too much, but Daryl met this chick somewhere outside of the group when he got separated from them, which I don't even remember that happening in the first place. So that's kind of where I started to be like, what is this? I don't remember this. When did Daryl not be with the group? I thought he was with the group the whole time. And yeah, so I got confused. Maybe I just didn't pay attention. I don't know. It could be my fault, but I guess Daryl met this chick while he was out on the road by himself or whatever. It started to get into too many storylines, and then all of a sudden you're just half the people die and then the show just ends and they're like, we just kind of lived and blah blah blah, and it's Rick's little girl that just kind of talking while it pans out, and then it's just that's the end of the original series, and I'm like, that sucked, how are you going to end it like that and then expect people to be like, oh, I'm going to watch this, and then want to go watch all the spin-offs? Like I said, I haven't really even dabbled in them, and Walking Dead was one of my favorite TV shows. So it's kind of I mean, you get so much of one thing and it's just kind of It's just like Grey's Anatomy. I watched the crap out of that for a long time. And then once the orthopedic surgeon for hockey players or something, real prissy looking dude with the hair, comes on the show, and then I was just like, okay, so we're going to start the cycle over again. Good looking guy with hair that gets with Meredith. Okay, all right then. I guess we're moving on. Yeah, once you get going so long on a show, which we want to talk about bad endings, Game of Thrones, probably one of the worst endings I've ever seen. Just throwing that one out there. That was the worst ending I've ever seen, ever. And I've heard and I read it was because the guy that was creating the episodes and wrote the books or whatever, I guess he was dying, and they were trying to end the show before he died, so they were trying to get the script from him. Well, he ended up dying, so they didn't have a script, so they just kind of threw everything that was supposed to be towards the end of the series into one episode and was like, that's it, that's the end. I'm just like, That's garbage is what that is. I mean, there's been a couple of TV shows like that. Like, I wish Longmire would have kept going for a long time. That was one of my favorite shows. One of my absolute favorite shows was Longmire. And I think it ended shitty too. It just kind of like, it's going, and then it's ended. And I'm just like, at least that one had like you feel like it wrapped up the series. Like, he got his Bronco fixed, and then he got a cell phone finally after the whole fucking show. He finally got a cell phone, so like it kind of tied everything together at the end, at least. I feel like Game of Thrones, you're watching 30-second clips of what 15 episodes should have been, so I was like, that's garbage. It's absolute garbage. And I understand, like, the Walking Dead side of things, they had to leave it set up to where, like, you wanted more, I guess. So, I mean, they accomplished that. But at the same time, it ended shitty. I don't like how it ended. So it made it really hard for me to want to go, yeah, I'm going to go watch all this, I don't know. I don't think they do super great at TV anymore. Not by any means am I saying I could do it better, but I could give better suggestions, I feel like. Like, I'll give you suggestion. You have writers and people that handle stuff like that, so you take my suggestions to them and they can finish it. It just drives me nuts. It absolutely kills me. But since we're talking about TV shows, we might as well go ahead and talk about some horror movies, because I don't think they're very good anymore either. I think horror movies nowadays are dog shit. Absolute garbage. I haven't seen a good horror movie since I was young, and it was from like the 80s or late 70s, early 80s, something like that. Is Hellraiser, like Pinhead. That was probably, because the storyline was great, and then on top of that, you had incredibly scary demons that just came out of blue lights on the wall, like, is crazy. But then again, I was like, I would have been what, like 8, 9 maybe. So back then it was absolutely terrifying. I've watched it again recently though, and it is a good horror movie. But like the new stuff that they come out with, I feel like it's either incredibly repetitive, like has been done a million times, or it's not like, okay, so perfect example. One of my favorite, absolute all-time favorite series is, it's not a series, I guess it's a, series of movies. Yeah, okay. I'm stupid. Don't mind me. Ultimate series is the Saw movies. Absolute bangers, dude. Like, the whole thing is a giant banger. It's such a good series. You have an incredible storyline. Absolutely insane. And then on top of that, the twist and the turns and the gore. It's just, that is a beautifully it would really help if I could talk today. It was a beautifully put together masterpiece. And it wasn't like one movie or 3 movies. It was like 9 fucking movies. 10 movies. I think they just came out with 10 not too long ago. It was insane. That whole series is crazy. Again, it's I like when you have a storyline. Kind of like with the Annabelle series. I like those too. Like, Annabelle's got a lot of the jump scary kind of stuff that, like, I'm more of a fan of. I will tell you, if I want to get scared real easy, I've got to have, like, The Grudge or The Ring or Little Kids. Little Kids ghosts and stuff in scary movies? Nah. Nope. Ain't fucking with it, bruh. I ain't doing it. I don't like it. I don't know why, but the little tiny when you hear that and they're just running behind you and all that. Nope. Not a fan. Like Mama, my God, that movie fucked me up. That movie, I don't know. It's like the scene where his brother or whatever went to the cabin that he died at or killed himself, whatever. And the girls are like all fours just crawling around and creeping around and stuff, and they look like little crabs crawling across the floor. Like, that shit scares me. And on a side note of that exact situation, my little sister is incredibly good at that for no reason at all. Drives me nuts. She used to do that all the time. She probably doesn't do it anymore, but she used to do that really well when she was younger. It was creepy. It was incredibly creepy. But little kids, the whole clown thing, like, I haven't got to watch Terrifier yet, but I'm assuming it's pretty gory and I'll like it for that aspect. But like the whole clowns are scary crap that doesn't, it's like that It movies. I don't even like the It movie for the scariness of it because it's not at all scary to me, not even in the slightest. I like it because the CGI is freaking phenomenal and the cast is great. I mean, you can't beat some of the people that are in that movie. They're just great. Like the guy who played Professor X in the newer X-Men movies, and then the other guy, he plays in Superbad. He's one of the cops from Superbad. Those two guys right there, phenomenal actors. And the CGI is great. And the storyline is phenomenal. Like, that's the thing you need if you're going to do a horror movie nowadays. You need to get away from all the paranormal crap unless you've got an insane storyline behind it. And you need to go more towards the gore or the CGI'd crazy manipulative of the picture, kind of like the whole house breeze kind of thing. It's like Monster House on steroids. You guys remember that kids movie, right? The lady that died and he accidentally buried her in cement and all this other stuff, and then the house turned into her, and like the whole house moved. Like that was insane. And it was like that weird Tim Burton-y looking animation stuff too, and it was a good little movie. And it's the storylines. That's what hooks me. I mean, that's what the whole point of having a movie is. Listen, I'm the type of guy, I'll watch The Notebook because, number one, I'm a hopeless romantic, which is annoying to my fiance, but I'm a hopeless romantic, and I love a good storyline. The first time I watched that movie, I was like, that's awesome. Until they said his name, I had no idea that the old man that was reading the book was him. No idea. That storyline is phenomenal. I am a sucker for a good storyline in any kind of movie. Romantic comedy, scary movie. I mean, a series of movies. As long as the storyline and everything matches up and they don't rush the ending, then it's phenomenal. I don't care. I mean, it took Saw 10 movies to finally get to the point where they're like, how many more people can we incorporate into this storyline before people are like, this is the same shit over and over again, which technically it is. The entire series is the same thing. Or you take people, put them in a situation where they have to fight for their lives. It's the same situation. It's repetitive, but it's not necessarily the game that you're watching it for. I mean, it is the gore and all this other stuff, like the different kind of games and stuff, but the storyline is why I watched it. Like, you got to see all of his story between his wife and her girlfriend or whatever she was being pregnant, and the dude killed her baby and this and that and this and that. And then you get to a certain amount of movies, you find out that he died, and then they just kept coming out with movies, and you're like, how are they doing this? Are they doing like prequels where it's prior to the death or what? And then by the time you even realize what's going on, it's the end of the movie, and they're like, oh, well, guess what? This guy's still dead. It's not anybody. It's me the whole time. It's kind of like a Scooby-Doo reveal at the end of these fucking movies. They take off the pig mask, and you're like, holy shit. That's the guy from 2 movies ago. So, I mean, a good scary movie, in my opinion, has a great storyline. Multiple movies is fine. If it takes you that many, then by all means, if you feel like you need to rush things by putting it all into one movie, spread that shit out, man. There ain't nothing wrong with going haunting in, I don't know, Beverly Hills, and then the first one's like halfway through the movie, you're like, Jesus Christ, we only got through like 4 pages of the book. Be like, Haunted in Beverly Hills 2. Just put a 2 at the end of that shit, and people will come watch it if they like the first one. So put a lot of effort and time into the first movie, and then spread that shit out into another movie. Like, why would you put everything into one movie, and then everybody's like, Jesus Christ, if you miss 2 seconds of this movie, you miss all of it, basically, because you don't have any idea what's going on. Or you feel like you didn't get all the information because they tried to cut it and snip it, and, somebody wrote the plot to this movie. Somebody sat down and took the time to put this movie together, and then you guys you're like, that is a lot. We're going to have to and shorten that shit up, and then it turns into this jumbled mess of like, dude, why did that happen? And then you get to the end of the movie, and you're like, they better make another movie, because half of this movie I don't even understand, because I'm like, there's missing information. So, that's why, personally, I believe that new horror movies are garbage. Newer horror movies, absolute garbage. Garbage. A lot of my list has multiple movies. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Saw, Paranormal Activities. Some of them are really stupid, some of them are good. The Sinister movies, those are really good. You know, it's just, if you have a story to tell, why try to force it all into an hour and a half, 2 hours, when you could go, all right, the first quarter of this book or the first quarter of this script we're doing on the first movie. Save your script, put that shit in a box and put it in your closet, and wait till 2 years from now when we start working on the second movie, and then we're going to do half of it, and then we're going to do the other quarter in the last movie. Like, spread that shit out over 3 movies. Make the first movie an hour and a half long, the second movie 2.5 hours long, and the third movie an hour and a half long. I would watch something like that, as long as the story matched and continued to go on. And you know what? If you wanted to make a four series of movies, by God, throw a prequel in there where you get even more information about the main characters from the first one. Like, their parents were, like you have this psycho that kills people, and then the second movie is you go back to Texas Chainsaw Massacre did that. It's exactly what happened in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The first couple movies were like about him and him killing people, and it's just a massive slaughter, and it's unfortunate that these stupid young teenagers decided to drive through there. Then like the third or fourth one, or maybe it was the second one, I can't remember, it goes back and talks about, his mom and that he was born in the freaking beef factory that he worked in. So like do something like that. The storyline is what everybody cares about. I think that's pretty much going to wrap up my random thoughts for the day, y'all, and we actually kind of threw a couple of them in there that I wasn't expecting to, but that's what happens when you talk random. That's why I love this so much. But anyway, I want to let everybody know that I appreciate you so much for listening, and if you like this stuff, if you want to see more, please do not forget to subscribe and or follow the channel, all my, posting platforms, just to not miss any episodes. We're going to be here for a while, and it's kind of easy to do a podcast when your podcast consists of whatever the hell you want to talk about. So I hope to see you guys next week, and we will try our best to think as random as possible. Stay random, yo.